Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft Gamemode 4 G4 server, and we're over here in the area where we were hunting slimes before. Yes, that's right, I'm back from download by the way, so I've sort of caught up with all the videos and I've been reading the comments. Is my volume turned off? I do believe that it is. I was doing some AFKing over at the gold farm, got a funny story to tell over there. It's not all the way off, let's turn this back up. Yep, so we're over here in the slime area. The reason that I came over here was just to reply to a bunch of your comments. Now, one thing that I want to make kind of clear here is that when you're reading comments, you never know what tone people are saying things to you in. So they might be saying it in a friendly way, or they might be being mean. And being a content creator and a little self-critical, sometimes you think people are being mean, and I'm sure most of you are not, but I got a lot of comments saying, why didn't I build the slime farm? Now, I actually made that slime farm tutorial after I made the Game Mode 4 episodes, so sometimes the videos don't come out in the order that you see them. But the main thing was that if I had have made that slime farm down here, it wouldn't have really got me any slimes. You see, this area wasn't lit up, so there weren't a lot of slimes spawning, and another thing that makes slime spawn is when other mobs die. So by going around hunting mobs, lighting up caves, I was encouraging them to spawn, and then when I came over here, I could kill them. If we had set up that trap in the middle of this room and just waited and let it do its thing, it wouldn't have got many slime balls at all, because it's a passive farm. It's not going to actively get them for you, and it's based on the environment that it's in. So if you had like a void world with nothing in it except this one farm and a chunk where slimes could spawn, then it would get loads and loads of slimes, but otherwise it wouldn't have been suitable. So I wanted to mention that because so many people commented seeming a little bit some comments were a little bit aggressive, let's say, you know, why didn't you do this, oh my god, so silly. And that's the reason why, because it wasn't suitable. So remember, when you see these farms, some of them are dependent on their environment, which is an important thing to consider. Anyway, let's head back over to the base. Last episode we explored the ocean monument and we got ourselves enough kills to get an egg to make a guardian spawner, which we can then use to make an elder guardian spawner, which is just going to be amazing, being able to farm sponges. I'm sure we'll be able to do something awesome with all of them. So let's head back and let's start work on it. So I'm doing my editing, I'm watching the video back, and then I'm thinking, wait a minute, why would we kill these slimes with the cactus? We needed to kill these slimes ourselves. And I went back and read the comments again just to make sure it was the right video and I didn't get my wires crossed. And yeah, if we'd have used that farm, we wouldn't have got any kills at all in the Soul Probes books, which is why we were trying to kill them manually as well. So, yeah, that's another reason why we wouldn't have used that farm. But anyway, let's go through the portal now. I guess since we're here, we'll talk about what's happened in between episodes. I was trying to farm some gold over in our little design over here, and something pretty crazy happened. The spawner disappeared. I freaked out. I was like, oh no, where has it gone? And after a while, I realised that it had fallen off and gone into the water and made its way down here. And now I've kind of pushed it over to one side so it's sort of safe. It seems to have nudged itself back across. But anyway, we can get it out of there. And some of you suggested, or better yet asked, why I use these rails and not the ladders. Do you know, all these new things, it takes a while for them to get stuck in your head. So when we bring that spawner back up here, we use a ladder to bring it to the top, and then it can go all the way across and fall down. Yes, and then it will go back into the farm. But we need to modify it because something nudged it off the slime blocks there, and I have a theory. It could be that it was a pigman spawning. Now this thing right here, because it's not a block, it might mean that the pigman can attempt to spawn where the block would have been, because it's a minecart cage. It spawns it there and then it walks off the edge and nudges the minecart down into the water. Or it could have been bats, and I'm not too sure about how bat spawning works, and because of that I'm curious to find out, but possibly half slabbing the ceiling might stop the bats from spawning. So that's another thing that we're going to try here. Sometimes when they walk towards you I think they're being aggressive, but maybe not. So there is one more thing that I want to mention here. We've been talking a little bit about the problem of how we're going to stop the mobs spawning when they're up the top here, and some of you have left comments pointing out that when we're standing here, that thing is pretty much out of range, or at least the one in the farm. So when we're standing here and it's active, the ones up the top are going to be deactivated. So when the minecarts are being moved around, they're not actually going to be spawning unless we're nearby. Now on occasions we'll probably have to come up here, and when we're setting it up we're going to be nearby the mobs that will spawn from these things. But it's a really good point. When we're all the way down there, they're not going to be doing anything. So maybe the whole spawn proofing thing is going to be a little bit easy, because once it's done, we don't have to go back up there again, hopefully, and then we don't have to worry about it. But that's none of what we're going to be doing in this episode. I will fix the gold farm, of course. We're going to be building the Guardian farm. As I mentioned, we have the means to make an egg down here. You can see we have our 51 out of 50, which is awesome. So we need to find ourselves a spawner. I'm going to go back up there into the mine shafts. Hopefully we'll get lucky and find another cave spider, which we can convert. And hopefully that doesn't take me too long as well, because I feel like I've really explored that area. But we'll go back up there and hopefully we'll get lucky. Yep, you know what that is down there? I was hearing some zombies in this area, and then I saw that, and I think we found another one of those dungeons. And what's interesting is that I'm not very far at all from where we were last exploring. If we just go around the corner here, then behind me is pretty much as far as I explored before. So a fair bit of luck there. It's not taking me long to find this. And look, this is where the last dungeon was. Somewhere around here. It was kind of above us. There you go, there it is. So not so far at all. And that is a right bit of luck. So we'll go in there and we'll see how many spawners there are inside this one. Okay, we've got to be careful. I think there was a creeper spawner. Actually, no, I don't think there was. The one that we explored before, I thought there was, but it was just natural creepers spawning in the dark areas. So let's run around quickly, as you do. Throw down all of these. So I've got a skeleton and a zombie, and now we've got an army following me. Let's get out of here. Oh, hi. Now you're stuck. Well, nothing good in the chests, but isn't that just perfect? And I can hear loads of them. I think they've spawned outside of the walls in the caves, because all of this is lit up. Hello? And what do we have? We've got a zombie, another one. I mean, they're all going to change, so let's count them. We've got 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 spawners in total. That's amazing. We're going to use 2 of these. One of these is going to be for a guardian spawner. Then we're going to kill the guardians so we can make another guardian spawner, upgrade it into an elder guardian spawner, and I think what I'm going to try and do is make a farm that uses both of them, which is going to be pretty interesting. But before we can do that, I need to get some minecarts over here, of course, and turn these into the minecart cages, and then transport them back safely, which might be a little bit tricky because we've got all of these unlit caves and stuff, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out. So we've done it. We've got all of these spawners into the minecart cages like this, and here comes the tricky bit. Because there's 5 of them, when I try and push them along, one of them's going to get pushed back. But the path that I've made is lit up pretty well. I've done the best job that I can, and the other 3 minecarts have just shot off on ahead, and I think they might have done that thing where they group up and sort of push each other along, because we surely would have seen one come back by now. So let's get this guy to stay up here. Let's go grab the other minecart. And I'm just going to record this because something interesting might happen. But of course I'll edit it out because I don't think anything is really going to go wrong. Except something like this where I'm struggling to push them along. But everything has been lit up really well. So hopefully no problems. So we got the minecart spawners back safe and sound. And now we're going through the process of designing a new farm. Because we've got to learn about what this is going to be like using spawners for these things, which is something we don't do in vanilla Minecraft. It's quite interesting, and I've set up a simple test here. What we've got is Elder Guardian spawners at the bottom, Guardian ones at the top, and then on the right hand side obviously there's water, and you can see that mobs are spawning there, which is interesting because a moment ago when I was doing some very basic tests just in a regular world, they were also spawning like this into the air as well, but since I put them in this world, not a single thing has spawned. Now the reason that we got it set up like this with ridiculous fall damage is to make sure that the Elder Guardians die, because I don't know how far down it is they go. That's interesting. They can spawn on top of there. We know that already, actually. That's something that I should have done. Just put a block on the top like that. But it doesn't matter for now. And I set this up with hoppers and chests at the bottom so we could compare drops to see which was the fastest spawning. But as you can see already, they're only spawning on the side with water, which is interesting behaviour. That's kind of what I initially expected, but like I said, in the other world where I just quickly put some spawners in, they were spawning in air as well. So what we can also do is make it nighttime, and there you go. They spawned on that side now, so now is probably the real test, but I feel like we can do this just by observing. If it turns out to be close, we've moved a little too far away there, what I can do is leave this test running and compare the drops, but for now it seems like they're going to spawn quicker in water, but we'll wait and see what happens. I'm going to stand here and watch them spawn. There's a spider down the bottom as well. That's right, I think mobs can spawn on the hoppers. Yeah, and the rest of the world is half slabs, by the way. So the spider made it to the top, and now that it's nighttime, we're seeing something interesting. We're getting spawns on this one over here. It's definitely not as much, and that guardian that spawned there, that's the first one in a while. So spawn rates seem to be a lot lower on this one, and this is just based on observations, nothing too technical, but spider made it to the top. Oh. Yeah, it's definitely better with water, and it appears to be... Well, actually, I'm not sure. It might be better at night. That's probably the test that we want to do. Do we want a dark room or a light room? I'm going to guess it's probably a dark one, but what I'll do is go down there, take the items out of the chest, and then do sort of like a 5 or 10 minute comparison of either and see how many drops we get when it's daytime and see how many we get when it's night. And look, we've got a second spider. Oh, and now he's gone. Okay, so the Guardians drop this at night, the Elders drop this much, and then in the daytime, down the bottom here, you can see there's really not much in it. It's close, it might be a little less over here for the Guardians, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. And of course, you need to do a longer test to make it proper, but I just want to get a rough idea of what I'm doing here. I don't have all the time in the world, so just depending on what's convenient, we'll either make it light or dark, but I'll probably try it and go for dark since... Apparently that's what affects Guardians spawning in their natural environment, not from a spawner though. And one thing I want to mention, we didn't get any sponges. You have to kill the Guardians to get the sponges. So initially I was going to put these both together in the same farm, but what we'll do is probably make this one separate, make it nearby this one so we can activate both at once. And then we'll have all the Guardians going to like a holding chamber, and then we'll use a crusher to bring them down to one-hit kill, which I think sounds like a pretty cool way of doing things. Okay, you can see our spawners over there. We haven't moved them, and I like the way you can see them through the walls. I find that interesting. As I was pushing them back, I kind of saw them go off in the distance and settle down. And I've been thinking about where to build this, and I think over here is going to be the place. Again, we're on our way to where the slime farm is. In fact, what I might do is make it a little bit more of a diagonal path, because I know the slime farm goes over that way more. So let's say it's sort of more along that line. But anyway, what I think we'll do is have two drop-off points like this. I'm not sure if they're both going to have full sets of hoppers, but basically the Elder Guardians are bigger, so they're going to fall down onto something like this. And what we're going to do to kill them is crush them. So we're going to have some simple crushers on either side that are going to work on... Well, this one's going to work on when you press a button, so you bring them down to one hit and kill them, but the one on the opposite side for the Guardians will simply just crush them. So what we'll have above here is just a basic room with water that pushes them down into a 2x4 or a 2x2 hole. No, wait. Yeah, a 2x2 or a 2x1 hole, and then they'll fall down here and we'll use crushing to kill them. So this one will be automatic, so we get the Guardian drops, and then on the opposite side it will be to get the sponges. And all of that I think is pretty straightforward, but building it, the logistics of it might be a little bit tricky. The main thing that I want is an AFK spot between the two, directly in the middle, so that both will be active at the same time. And that is the plan, and now I've got to figure it out. So we're going to change this up. We're actually going to go a bit more of a diagonal direction, which might mean it's a little bit further along, because I don't want this thing to be active while these ones are. And you might be thinking, you know, want to have them all active at once. I don't want to make this too messy. It means putting it real close to this one, which is probably going to run into some problems. You know how it is. And it's the projects alone that are fun. So anyway, we'll move it back in that direction. And then I'm going to start figuring out where this all goes. Because like I said, we need to be able to AFK and activate both the spawners at the same time. Alright, quite some time has passed by. You can see here that I got myself a couple of spawn eggs. And I just said myself. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to put one in there just in case something goes wrong with the Soul Probes book. But if we click on this thing and click on Create Guardian Spawn Egg, then we've got one. And that's absolutely amazing. Now, these things require eggs to make, and I've actually run out of eggs. I managed to get a chicken over here, though. I figured having an egg farm would be a pretty important thing. So I spawned this guy, or hatched him in, if you know what I mean, and then fed him some seeds. So he became an adult, and now he's sitting in there in the hopper. And eventually he'll lay some eggs. So I'm going to do some AFKing around here, literally for more eggs, so we can get a good supply of them, because that's something I don't think we have here on the server, like an egg farm. But now we're ready to do this, and I don't know if right-clicking on them when they're a minecart spawner like this will change it, but I don't want to risk it. I do not want to risk losing our minecart spawner. So everything should be good to go. I haven't shown you what I've done over there yet, but we're going to go over there and nudge this guy in. I think this farm's going to be really awesome, by the way. Feels like it's coming along well. So there might be one or two dark spots like there. Hi. Go away. And I think we're going to be good now. So we're going to push this guy, or maybe this corner here as well. Go on, keep going. Nope, we're fine. Yeah, we're going to push him up into the room. So we'll have a look at the bottom of the room as well in a moment. And I've done all the measuring out, and this is going to go in the exact right place. And I can give you an idea of what this is going to be like. Actually, it's gone one block higher. Had a feeling it might go up there. Okay, what I'll probably just do is make the ceiling a little bit higher, because that thing should still be activated from all the way down here, right? This spot right here is basically going to be our AFK spot, and look, even standing back here, you can see it's still active. So that's awesome. That means we can see it from down here. It is going to have water going over it, which is something that I wanted to show you. By the way, this is what the bottom's going to be like. I decided to use some building bricks here, and what we'll do is probably decorate it with some more stone bricks on these walls, but also some of these blocks, these prismarine ones from the Ocean Monument, which we should be farming ourselves in a bit. So we can make it look a little bit more interesting, because most of what we've done so far has been caves. But this is one block higher, so I'll change all of that, I guess, in a moment. I could just bring it down by one again. I might actually do that. And I was expecting some of these to spawn. We could change it over to a Guardian spawner right now. Although when you put it back into a minecart, I can't remember if it keeps it or not. There are some things that are a little bit finicky due to how the game works. But anyway, let's just have a look at what we got going on in here. We got the drop in the middle. We got the fence gates to hold back the water. And then there's one source block in each corner. And that works perfectly because the room is 9 by 9. So it all flows into the middle. And although it's not exact around this bit, it does mean every mob will get pushed down there. So all of that's going to work well. I think what I am going to do is move this down by one block. I don't have a piston on me, so let's go and move it, and then we'll change it over to a Guardian. Yep, that was much better than raising the roof by one block. And let's change this thing over. And there we go, Guardians are spawning without water. And let's zap these guys quickly. Oh, they're going to do damage to me, damn it. Yes, hello. There's a zombie here as well. And what I'm going to do is tidy this up a little bit, but then activate the water streams, so it's going to drop them all below here. Hello again. And we can get another 50 kills, which means we can make the same one in the other side. And this is going to knacker out my armor. I need to sort this out. But they'll all drop down into this bit, which we can drop down here. If I seal up the back here and then put some glass at the front, or half slabs actually, is what I'll need, then they won't be able to escape. And hopefully, because I'm close enough to them, they won't do the thorns damage either. And that looks actually quite odd. I kind of pictured it with the stone bricks there being visible. We might make this out of glass when we do the proper farm. But anyway, there you go. We've got our first spawner in, so I've got to kill these guys until we get enough to make our second one. So I'm killing these guys slowly, taking off my armor, whacking them with the sword, getting loads of damage, waiting for my health to reheal. It is quite slow and tedious, but one thing that I've noticed is every time I look up, there's a whole bunch of them hanging around up there. So let's go put on our armor and have a look up top. I don't think I've designed this farm too well. And do you know what? I've been working really hard on this farm today. It's taken a long time to get this done. I wish I had more time for testing, because we could have come up with a different design. There's a few of them hanging around here, isn't there? Yeah, and these guys should be one-hit kill though. There we go. Awesome. How much gold have we got? Loads of swords, but not enough gold, in my opinion. Anyway, let's go up here and have a look. And you'll see... Oh my... What? That is a ridiculous amount more than a moment ago. So, I was about to query that perhaps I didn't get the escape zone here right, but apparently I did, because there's a lot of them. A heck of a lot of them. Oh, that's so silly. Okay, so what I observed when there were less of them there is that they get to the edge of the water and they jump. So I think what we might want to do, let's run around this side, is lower these doors by one, so the water just kind of pushes them right off and then they fall down below, which would have been an easy task, but now we have a ridiculous amount of these guys hanging out here. And that is a thumbnail opportunity like I've never seen one. Yeah, so I'll figure something out. Disabling this thing's going to be difficult because they'll spawn at any light level, with or without water. Although it seems like when we did it earlier outside in our testing, it wasn't quite the same. But I'll have to figure something out here. Maybe I'll just go and hang out in there and take a load of beating on my armor. Who knows? So above these blocks I've managed to put in fence gates, so that means we can remove the ones in the middle. I also removed the water source in that corner. That was a really silly idea, so we got to go and replace that one now. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought, let's go and remove all of the water sources in here, and then after a while that became Quite difficult trying to get the ones in the other corners, so let's see what happens here. We are never going to be able to place this back down, are we? No, that's a lost cause, clearly. Let's break this in the middle, and we are going to have to jump in there and jump back out again, and what I would need is an ender pearl. But I don't have one, so maybe we can get a block down there. I think I'm going to go grab an ender pearl, actually, make it nice and safe. Okay, we're breaking the 4 in the middle, then we're jumping out of there. I got a feeling it's going to be extremely difficult. Yep, I can't even contact with any of them, and I don't know how. And this is bad. Let's throw that second ender pearl and this time actually get out of there. Okay, I have made an absolute mess for myself here. These guys are not going to despawn. That thing is always going to be active when I'm around. It is a real problem. So eventually I had the smart idea of using my brain, and I made this little platform, and then I was actually, oh, I hit all of them, and it leaves a gap of 1 in the middle. That might be bad. We also might be able to fix that quite easily just by raising the water sources in the corner. So it might not even be an issue. But let's see how it behaves now. He's not going to jump. Oh, maybe I distracted the guy. But when he falls down from the side over there, he shouldn't jump because there isn't the edge of the water, unless that's not the reason why they jump. But that seems to have got them all down below, right? So I think that's a good start. What we'll do is remove these extra blocks and just do some testing. Let's go down below, observe this thing, and see if it's going to help. So we need to double up the pistons over here, and I don't think I've actually crushed guardians before. Listen to that sound. That is an amusing sound. It looks like a lot of them jump up above as well, so maybe a cap system as well, where these ones at the top activate first, and then the ones below crush. And some of them are dying. I just wanted to weaken them up so they're one hit kill on this. And did you actually escape? That's crazy. That's super glitchy. But there you go. We should now be able to kill these guys relatively easy and finish getting our our extra egg. We've only got 5 more to go. That is terrific. So the Thorns effect these guys have, that that doesn't work with bows. Now I knew it didn't work with potions, and I was thinking about brewing up potions for the future to do something. But you can do it with bows as well. So if you have an infinity bow, that could be a really good way to kill these guys. But what are we up to now? 54. There we go. We did it. We can get ourselves another Guardian spawn egg. I think I put the other one in the chest, and we can make the Elder Guardian spawner. But I think we're going to save that for another time because we made some mistakes with this setup over here. I'd like to double check it. And let's kill the rest of those guys. I don't need them anymore. They've served their purpose. I'm going to hook this thing up to a clock so it automatically crushes them and kills them, which is going to be useful. So the Thorns effect these guys have, that that doesn't work with bows. Now I knew it didn't work with potions, and I was thinking about brewing up potions for the future to do something. But you can do it with bows as well. So if you have an infinity bow, that could be a really good way to kill these guys. But what are we up to now? 54. There we go. We did it. We can get ourselves another Guardian spawn egg. I think I put the other one in the chest, and we can make the Elder Guardian spawner. But I think we're going to save that for another time because we made some mistakes with this setup over here. I'd like to double check it. And let's kill the rest of those guys. I don't need them anymore. They've served their purpose. I'm going to hook this thing up to a clock so it automatically crushes them and kills them, which is going to be useful. So I just finished recording the episode, and my clip explaining the crusher was missing. So let me tell you about the crusher. Yes, I've installed this thing right here. It's pretty cool, and a moment ago I just made some modifications to it, which I guess I'm going to have to undo to explain how it works. Oh, it's always confusing having to explain things over again. So there's 2 ways that we can turn this crusher off. We can hit this thing right here, and what it'll do is it will keep these things retracted on either side, or we could also put a lever up here and power the redstone that the contraption back there is powering the pistons with, so you could sort of turn it off in 1 or 2 ways, and I don't know why either of those would be useful, but just going to cross my mind. So anyway, let's have a look at this contraption around the back here. Now in this game I've made a fair few mob crushers in my time, and it's always this one that throws me off a little bit, and I can't remember how I did it last time, so I went into my plot world and made a new design. So the thing here is that we're not making a mob softener, we're not doing this based on pressing a button, it's automated, and what we want is for it to crush more than it does, you know, take a step back and then reset again, because we need the new mobs to fall down into there and get crushed as well. So this thing's entirely automated, and because of that, This doesn't get used too often, so I did have a look around on YouTube, but I didn't really find anything, so I made my own thing. This is kind of the first thing I thought of in my mind, and it actually worked pretty well. So over here we've got this redstone torch. This is quite an important part because below these two blocks on either side there's some redstone that powers it, so it momentarily turns off the torch. So everything here is kind of happening in a loop. So the signal goes through, it goes all the way around here, and then activates this, which creates a 4-tick pulse. And this one goes through in 8 ticks, so it's like it turns off the torch for 8 ticks. And then the amount of time this is turned off by is determined by this delay. So initially what I had it set at was 3 like this. And I don't think we need to do that the whole way through, just where the signal comes off. But basically what it means is it's subtracting the delay from the signal length. So if that's 8 ticks, then this is 3, it means it's going to be turned off for 5. So these pistons right here would retract for 5. If we have a longer delay, then it will retract for 4, but the gap between them will be bigger. It's interesting how it works like that, but that's the system. So when we turn this torch off right here, we kind of temporarily disable this, and then when we turn it on again, you can see the signal's just going to go back through, and it's going to hit this thing at the end and create that new pulse again, momentarily turning it off. So that works really well, and that is the crusher. See you guys later. Yep, that is going to be it for this episode of Game Mode 4. I really did plan to do a lot more in this episode, but it took us quite a bit of time, and I think next time we work on this project is going to be interesting. The next episode might be something a little bit different. Can't really let you know what's going on just yet, but hopefully it is, because if it is, it's going to be awesome. But anyway, that's it from me this episode of Hermitcraft. As always, if you enjoyed yourself, please do leave a like. It will be greatly appreciated. But that is it. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.